Okay, we're going to take a walkthrough through how to create a tree in Photoshop using various tools in Photoshop. So let's start off with making a new layer down here on our layers palette next to your trash can. We're going to title this layer gradient. So we're going to start off by using the gradient tool. Now your gradient tool on your tool menu or toolbox is this little icon right here. It may be hidden underneath your paint bucket tool. Now notice we have these 5 different options up here at the top. So you can change the style of your gradient. You can hit on the drop down menu of this colorful gradient up at the top, or you can make your own, which you can click in right inside the gradient and get your gradient editor. Now remember, if you want to choose a different color, we would use these 2 right side up houses on the bottom. These are called color stops. At the top we have upside down houses. These are called opacity stops. Don't worry about those for now. If we want to change the color, all we have to do is double click on a color stop and the color will automatically change. I'm going to leave mine as something orangey for now, or red maybe, a little more red. Click OK. If you want to add a color stop, see a little hand, we can click right there. If you want to get rid of it, you click it and drag right off of it. So we're going to leave this as is for now, click OK. I'm going to go and drag my gradient, just click and drag down your document. I want it the other way, so I'm going to drag from the bottom up. Perfect. Now I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to title this tree. And we're going to pick up our brush tool. And once we have our brush tool, I'm going to choose my color down here on our foreground menu. This looks like a good brown to me. Up here at the top where we have our brush menu, I'm going to leave it as a hard brush. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller by using the bracket keys on my keyboard. Spool, it should be right next to the P on your keyboard. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw a quick tree. For now. And once I have a closed shape, I'm going to go back to my gradient tool and I'm going to pick up my paint bucket tool, which we all know fills a shape. Now if you get that funky little line, you can click on it one more time. So there we have our tree. And the next thing we probably want to do is maybe add some leaves to our tree. So I'm going to make a new layer titled Leaves. I'm going to back up and choose my brush tool, get my drop down menu up at the top, and then choose my leaf. Now remember, this is a scatter brush, so it will scatter your brush all over the place. I'm going to choose maybe some green leaves. Make mine a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to start to paint all over the place. Remember, you can layer your colors if you wish. Color this in any way you really want. If you want to change the color a little bit, you can. You could add some lighter values in here. Ooh, I like that. I'm going to Command Z to undo it. Wasn't my favorite. Okay, maybe you add some darker values in there to make some shadows. Okay, once we're happy with that, we maybe need some grass here at the bottom. Make a new layer. I'm going to title it Grass. I'm going to pick up my brush tool again and choose the grass option. Now remember, this is a scatter brush again, and when we paint with it, we should get a multitude of colors depending on what colors are over here in our foreground background colors. Now if we change these colors, this is one of those options where Photoshop will overlay the colors by the 2 different colors in your foreground and background colors, which is kind of nice. I'm just going to paint this in quickly. Brush a little smaller, painting a little baby grass maybe in here. I'll try to do this pretty quick. Make my grass a little bigger, so we'll go a little faster. Maybe a little bigger here in the front. Maybe someone hasn't mowed in a while. Got crazy grass up here in front. From here you could even add an even darker color to maybe add a little bit of a shadow going on here with the tree on the grass, which you could easily do. A little bit more of a darkness underneath here as well. There we go. Nice little shadow going on. Okay, I think I'm okay with that for now. All right, so now maybe for instance, maybe we want our leaves to be changed color. So what we can do is either we can press Command U on our keyboards, or we can go to Image Adjustments, Hue Saturation, and get our Hue Saturation menu. Remember, hue stands for color, and saturation depends on how intense your color is. So something gray would be desaturated, something hot pink would be super saturated. So if we drag this hue slider back and forth, you see we can change the color of our leaves. I actually kind of like the blue leaves. I'm going to leave it like that. Changing saturation will make it super saturated, and dragging out the color will make it gray. I'll leave that there at 0. Lightness, make it brighter or make it darker. As an overall adjustment, I don't really recommend using lightness too much. And we can click OK. So from here, one more thing we can add is a custom shape. So we're going to go back over here to our Shapes tool, and we're going to choose our Custom Shape tool. Now up here we get our options for our custom shapes, and to add our shapes we can hit this little gear over here, and for right now I think I'm going to choose Nature. Remember, append means to add on to. It's asking if you want to replace the shape, so we're going to append for now. And next to our butterfly is our sun, or one of the suns. Or when you're drawing things, you want to resize them proportionally, you press Shift on your keyboard. Okay. I'm going to pick up my Move tool to move it where I want it to go. And I do want it to be sitting underneath my tree, or hidden behind it, so I'm just going to grab my layer and drag that down below the tree. Now right now it's not exactly the color I want it to be, so I can always double click here and choose maybe a yellow color. However, yellow, you know, the sun's kind of a couple different colors, so what we can do on our layers palette is in this empty area right here we can double click and we'll get the layer style menu. Now if you check gradient overlay, you're not going to get all of the options, so you have to click on the actual word. And then we're going to get our options, and you can choose style, which you already know how to do. I'm going to choose radial because it's round. And I'm going to click in this gradient bar to get our gradient editor window. I'm going to choose this orange, yellow, orange one, but I would like the yellow to be on the outside, so I'm going to move that down here. And I actually think that I want this color over here, so if you move your cursor out, it'll give you an eyedropper, and you can choose that outside color. The middle, I'm going to make more of a yellow color, maybe a little bit more golden, and the inside I'm going to turn red, just by double clicking on those color stops. I'm going to click OK, and then you can always adjust the scale if you want to make it more of a blend, and then you can click OK. Now if you wanted to, you could add an outer glow kind of make it look like it's glowing and just adjust the size on the outside of that, which is an option. You could do that too. Notice you get an FX, which stands for effects. You can turn the eyeballs off and on if you wanted to, so that you can see what it looks like. You can even turn off just the outer glow to see what that might look like. And if you wanted to get rid of it, you could just drop it into the trash can, which I'm not going to right now. Now say for instance you want to take this FX and you wanted to copy it to something else. A couple different ways you could do this. You could right click on it and choose copy layer style and then paste it onto another layer, or you could click and hold Alt on your keyboard and drag it to other layers. Okay, notice you get that double arrow that will allow you to do so. But I don't really want that there, so I'm going to get rid of it. Get rid of that copied layer too. Oh, I don't want that one either. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so now we have our nice little tree. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add your name with a type layer. So over here on your tool menu, you're going to pick up this text tool. And I don't want you to make a text box. I just want you to click with your cursor. Mine's a little bit big. We're going to fix that in a second. All you're going to do is continue to type. Now you're going to get your check mark up here as well, or you can click here in your layers palette and it will apply your transformation. I'm going to pick up my arrow tool, my move tool, and I'm going to move it. Now you could, from here, you could resize it from here if you wanted to, or while you're on your type tool, you could adjust your size up here at the top, although there's many more ways to do that. Now I am going to change the color with my color picker box. I'm going to make mine white so it's easy to see. Now you can also pick up any of these options over here on the right hand side where we have an A with a line next to it, our character palette. This will allow us to change anything as well. Your font if you wish, your size, and you can actually make it bold or italicized. Any one of those will work as well. Just pick up my arrow tool and move it into place. Notice that you have a T on your layer that represents that you have a type layer, which is shown you right there. So again, you could always adjust your opacity of something. Notice your name, or my name, is moving out of place. You can see through to the back. So your opacity, you could change that as well. Now remember, if you were on your shape layer and you wanted to erase something from it, you would get this no smoking sign, and if you click, it's going to ask you to be rasterized. Now rasterized is going to change it from a shape with a, you can see this outline, which is a path that surrounds a shape. If you click OK, it's going to change it into a complete image layer, like your tree layer or your leaves layer. And then you absolutely could erase from it. But again, it will no longer be a shape layer. I'm just going to press cancel for now. And then it says could not use the eraser because the content's not edible. Okay, so this is just a quick tutorial on how to make a tree and use the shape tools and your brush tools. So hopefully you can use some of this in your own. Okay, see you next tutorial.